Okay, guys, here's your lesson for today for the remote learning on Monday. So we are starting percent problems where we mix everything together. Parts, wholes, percents are all going to be mixed. You have to figure out what you're solving for. So we're going to go over a few examples. A sports store received a shipment of 400 baseball gloves. 30% were left-handed. How many left-handed gloves were in the shipment? This diagram is showing you 30 out of 100 are left-handed, right? Because 30% percents are out of 100. Percent means out of 100. So every 30 out of 100 are left-handed. So that means that this is 100, this is 30. Then if I kept going, right, on this diagram, there would be another 30 here. Out of these 100, there would be another 100 here with 30. So then you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 30s. Well, 30 times 4 is 120. Okay? So 30% means 30 out of 100. There were 30 left-handed gloves for every 100 baseball gloves. So we completed the diagram. And the diagram is showing us these 30 out of 100 are left-handed, these 30 out of that 100 are left-handed, these 30 out of that 100 are left-handed, and these 30 out of that 100 are left-handed. Okay? So we actually took that 30, multiplied it by 4 to figure out that 120 of the gloves are going to be lefties. Okay? And this is beautiful, right? The artwork I drew for you on this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear the ink here, and I'm going to set this up as part over whole equals percent out of 100. So part over whole equals percent out of 100. So we know a sports store received a shipment of 400 baseball gloves. Okay? Of 400, of being the key word, that means the whole is 400. I'm looking for the part, right? 30% are left-handed out of 100. So we set up our proportion here, part over whole equals percent of 100. How do I get from 400 to 100? Or how do I get from 100 to 400, I should say? I would have to multiply by 4. That means that 30 times 4 is going to give us our part. I already did that for you, and we know it's 120. Okay, so that's how we could use part over whole for that one. Here they're showing us another example of finding percent of a number. So a percent equivalent to the ratio of a part to a whole. To find the percent of a number, you can write the ratio to represent the percent and find the equivalent ratio that compares the part to the whole. That was a lot of words, but you guys all know how to do this already. I'm going to go part over whole equals percent out of 100. So here, we're looking for 30% of 400. I already set that up for you on the previous slide. So I don't know my part, but I know of is my key word here, right? Of, that's a super key word. That is definitely going to be our whole, because whatever comes after of is the whole. 30% out of 100. We already learned how to solve this one on the last slide. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here. 28% of 25. So 25 comes after. So that's my whole. I'm solving for the part. 28% out of 100. Okay, how do I get from 100 to 25? I would divide by 4. That means I'm going to divide 28 by 4, and I'm going to get 7. So the answer here is 7. Okay? You could also, as long as you show that part over whole equals percent over 100, you can use the calculator for that, and I'm totally fine with that, remember. So that's what they're showing you here, how to do that with the proportion. So you could take 0.28 times 25, and you will get 7. Okay, now they're saying multiply a fraction to find 35% of 60. Again, of 60, meaning 60 is the whole. So part over whole equals percent out of 100. 60 is my whole because it comes after of. I'm going to solve for my part. The percentage is 35. I still have 100. Okay? So you could take 0.35 and multiply it by 60 in the calculator. As long as you show me this, that you know all the parts of that equation, totally fine with that. But you have to set it up first. Okay? And when you do that, you're going to get 21. If you didn't recognize how to do it with the calculator, then you can see 60 to 100 is not friendly. So this is going to be one where we would cross multiply. So x times 100 is 100x. 60 times 35 is 2100. Then I'm going to have to divide by 100 on both sides to isolate x, remember, to undo that multiplication, and I'm going to get 21. So 35% of 60 is 21. Okay? I'm going to skip that bottom one there. So here, explain how to use a proportional reasoning to find 35% of 600. Well, part of 600, so again, part or proportion is going to be part over whole equals percent out of 100. 600 comes after of, that means that's my whole. I would solve for the part. My percentage is 35% out of 100. Okay? How do I get from 100 to 600? I would multiply by 6. Therefore, to get from 35 to the part, I would multiply by 6. So I'm just going to do that right here, 35 times 6. Don't forget, you may use a calculator. Totally fine. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 is 21. Look at that. It's 210. Okay, so the part here is 210. Now, this is just 10 times the previous answer, right? Because the previous answer was 35% of 60. Well, and we knew that was 21. 600 is 10 times 60, and therefore the answer to that one is going to be 21 times 10, which is 210. So you can reason it that way also. Here they're giving us find a percent, giving a part and a whole. So here the school principal spent $2,000 to buy some new computer equipment. Of this money, 120 was used to buy some new keyboards. What percent was used to spend on keyboards? Now it says of this money. That's referring to this $2,000. So 2,000 is your whole. They spent 120 out of that. Okay, so that's my part to whole equals percent out of 100. Okay, so as long as you show this, you set it up, then go ahead and use your calculator. Divide your numerator by your denominator. Okay, when you do that, you're going to get this, right? Move the decimal 2 places to get 6%. Okay, if you weren't sure about that, you couldn't, see that you should divide numerator by denominator, then you're just doing the proportional relationship. So to go from 100 to from 2,000 to 100, I would have to divide by 20, right? So that's going to be divided by 20. That means 120 divided by 20, okay? And you'll get 6. So it's still going to be 6%. Either one will work. But definitely use the part over whole equals percent of 100. You can solve it any way you want after that, but you have to set it up that way. Again, here they're showing you how to find a whole given a part. So 12 of the students in the school choir like to sing solos. These 12 students make up 24% of the choir. So I'm looking to solve for the choir. They want to know how many students are in the choir. So my of here is the whole. Okay, so I don't know my whole. I know that my part is 12, and that makes up 24% out of 100. Well, to get from 24 to 12, you're going to have to divide by 2, right? So to get to 100 to the whole, you would have to divide by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50. So it is going to be 50 students in the choir. Okay. Here you have a problem that we want you to complete in this Ed puzzle. Alana spent $21 of her $300 paycheck on a gift. What percent of her paycheck was spent on this gift? Of 300. So remember, what that has to be the what. Okay, you're going to solve that one. You're also going to solve this problem. At Pizza Pie, 9% of the pizzas last week had extra cheese. Okay, sorry about the dog barking. Violet was getting picked up. But, okay, so 9% of the pizzas last week had extra cheese. If 27 pizzas had extra cheese, how many pizzas were made last week? So we're looking for the whole here because this is of the pizzas. So make sure you're solving for that when you set it up. Don't forget, part over whole equals percent out of 100. Okay, that's very important.